level trot strides over the poles. What you need to work on now is getting the horse to follow the contact. If you notice that your length of rein as you go over the poles, the rein goes slack and then goes tight as the horse takes a footstep over. So what you need to do is make sure the horse is following a consistent contact. When you're moving on to the canter poles, the first canter stride each time is very good. The second canter stride is always quite close to the pole. So this tells me that the horse's canter pattern extends as the canter goes further on over each pole. What you need to do is keep the half hole in between each pole so you keep the consistent quality shape that you got over the first pole throughout the whole exercise. Moving on to jumping the cross pole, the canter is very good and the shape over the fence is very good. If you notice, the quality of the canter in between each cross pole is consistent, and this is the canter that we need to keep throughout the course. When starting to link the jumps together and we've taken the landing poles away from the first vertical, you lose the outline a little bit down to the water tray and the canter starts to deteriorate. Again, this is something that needs to be worked upon so you keep that nice round canter, so when linking the jumps together the quality of the canter is better than what it is at the minute. As you come down to the South Cerney spread, if you notice, the canter is getting a little bit quick, and the same to the orange and black one. After the South Cerney jump, the horse starts to run away with you. So what you can say is, at the start of each course the quality of the canter is good and it starts to deteriorate as the canter goes around the course. So you as a rider needs to keep putting the quality back, getting the horse on its hocks and making it as round as possible in the shape. Very good control over the trot poles and very good canter over the canter poles. Now just make sure that the horse is dead straight through the bridle, that you've got 50-50 in your hand. If you notice, sometimes as the horse is cantering towards you, the head and the neck is a little bit crooked. So that tells me that you've got more weight in one hand than the other. So what you need to do is get the horse level, so you've got 50-50 in both your hands and it's 50-50 in the bit. When linking the jumps together, the quality of the canter was good and the jump was very good. Where the weak spots come from is the corners. What you need to do is keep your outside rein and make sure you put specific points in each corner that you want to hit. Not that you end up cutting the corner and making the approach to each fence more awkward because you've lost space as you make your turn. So the key point of this exercise for you is not the jump, it's more so the corner, which then leads to the approach. When linking the jumps together, it's all about the same thing I keep going on about: consistency. Some jumps are good, some jumps are bad. But if you notice, you can quite clearly see that when the jumps are bad, it's because you've dropped your shoulders forwards and left the contact go in the bridle. What you need to do as a rider is keep your shoulders back, follow the contact all the time, come on a consistent canter and don't drop your hands. When you drop your hands, the horse shortens his stride up and that's when you get the horrible jump. But overall, it's improving, it's just the consistency level has to get bigger. Pole exercises are very good exercises for you because as you go over the trot poles, it's encouraging the horse to follow the contact and stay level through the bridle, which is something he struggles with whilst jumping the course. And when linking the canter poles together, it's not just two poles so you can get one canter stride and think you've got it. It's actually two canter strides, so you actually have to keep the canter the same for longer, which again, around a course of fences, is something you struggle with. So these two exercises are very good for this horse. When watching these jumping clips, you can see the inconsistency of the canter and the approach to each fence. As you jump the cross pole to this first plank, the horse follows the contact and stays on the contact all the time. As you come on the approach to this style, you can watch the horse now drop off your leg and drop the contact. This is where the problem comes from around the course of fences, which one problem leads to another, because as you land over the stile, you then end up running down to the spread, which then ends up having a bad stride because the rhythm isn't level. So this is a good example to watch this canter to see where the canter is good and where the canter is bad. But the one word that needs to be worked on is the consistency level. He's got to stay on the contact, follow the canter to the fence and follow the canter from the fence, not put the head up and run through the bridle. As you watch all these jumping clips, there's a common mistake this horse makes every time. One, the horse has to slow itself down and go around the jump, not that when it gets to the takeoff stride it goes at the front rail because it's going too quick. And two, the horse must keep itself dead straight on the approach. If you notice, as it comes round to this plank, it wobbles and then drops off the canter, which then you as a rider makes you rush the horse to the fence. This horse must follow a level contact so it stays on a consistent canter to the fence and from the fence. So around a course of fences, the pace should stay the same from the start to the finish. To achieve this, more contact on the flat work with a lot more leg, so the horse is following the contact into a strong level hand contact and it's going dead straight, so you can canter up the centre line and the horse is dead straight, not that you're cantering up the centre line and he's wobbling from left to right.